On the bench is a nice Omega Genève from the 60s. The watch is looking pretty good for its age. The dial has developed a peculiar patina, but still does look nice. The case is about 34 millimeters of diameter and only 8.5 millimeters thin. Let's open up the watch and start with the case back. Here is the reference of the watch. There's some rust on the rim that will be removed later on. And here is the movement. It is a Cal.600, a pretty nice manual wound movement of the era. There's a lot more rust on the inner diameter of the mid-case. That will need to be addressed. Some water went in here, but the movement in itself doesn't seem to have suffered from that issue. Some dried up grease right here. The watch hasn't been serviced for quite some time, it appears. Let's remove the bezel. The dial and movement only come out from the front with this watch. Let's take a closer look at the dial. There's a lot of small indentation all over the dial. At least it looks relatively uniform all across the surface. Please tell me in the comments your opinion on patinated dials in general. Some of them do look nice, and a nicely patinated dial can command a premium in comparison with untouched examples. But others are more damaged than anything else. It is sometimes used as a marketing gimmick to hide a poor dial, in some cases in my opinion. No issues here with the balance. It is a flat hairspring, and you can see dots on the rim on the balance. These are holes made in the frame for the poising of the balance. I am now releasing the mainspring. This is the biggest spring in the whole movement, and it stores the energy powering the watch. If it is still under tension, some parts may break and fly away during the disassembly. Let's check a fairly regular point of repair with these older watches. Under the microscope, by wiggling the barrel arbor, we can see that there is indeed quite a bit of play there that is to be addressed. The hole for the mainspring barrel often widens itself with wear and tear and creates some play which diminishes the potential amplitude of the movement. This small part is the second-hand pinion. It is where the second hand is mounted on. It is driven by the third wheel and goes through the whole movement up to the dial side. Here goes the barrel. This is where the mainspring is located, the spring responsible for the source of energy of the watch. This side of the movement is almost completely disassembled. Only the center wheel and pallet fork with its bridge are left. Onto the dial side now. This is a simple time-only movement, so nothing complicated on this side. Let's open the barrel now. The lid is simply held by friction. Some old grease on the inside. This will be cleaned later on. The spring in itself is removed and will be replaced with a new one. Last but not least parts to tear apart are the two balance wheel jewels. The top one is of the Inca block sort, one of the most frequently used. It is basically a spring shock system protecting the very fine balance pivot. The cap jewel is very dry. On the other side, it is a different style, but the same teardown is done. The disassembly is complete. It is now time for cleaning. Let's start the pre-cleaning. This is meant for removing the bulk of the filth. I am using a Q-tip with some isopropyl alcohol. After that, the jewel are cleaned with some pegwood. The rest of the cleaning is done with a machine. It is time for the reassembly. As said earlier, a brand new mainspring is going to be fitted. I always prefer to use a new one instead of reusing the old one. Let's address the play issue of the barrel arbor. For this, I am going to use a staking tool with two rounded punches. Firstly, the hole is going to be overly tightened. I am tapping the punch with a small hammer while turning the bridge to give it an even form. Here's a side view animation showing the process. The bridge, highlighted in yellow, is positioned between the two punches, in red. The matter of the bridge is slowly pushed in, creating a smaller hole. After that, the hole should be smaller than the barrel arbor. It is purposefully made so that it doesn't fit. Then comes the smoothing broach. This will flatten the ends. This is why the hole was made smaller earlier on. A flattened surface will be much more optimal. The results are clear. Initially, the barrel had quite a bit of play, but now the play has been eliminated entirely, and the barrel moves freely as intended. The cap jewel is oiled with some 90-10 low viscosity oil. The movement is now reassembled. I will let it run for some time before regulating it. After some tweaking of the balance, let's run the time grapher on 4 positions. Dial up and down, and crown up and down. Here are the final results. I think I did a good enough job with that one. The delta is the most important measure in my opinion. It is the difference between the two farthest mean rate across the different positions. It should be at the very least under 15. Here it is even under 10 at 7.75, so no issues there. The amplitude is also good as well as the beat error. Let's try to save this crystal. This is an original Omega part, with the usual small Omega logo stamped in the center of the glass. In order to polish those scratches out, I'll start with these 2 sandpapers of different grits. I'll work my way gradually to the finer grit. I'll finish with some polishing paste. Here is the final result. A lovely timepiece ready for the next years to come. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.